Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I need to talk to you guys about this very obscure TikTok conspiracy theory that went viral, but is also I feel like nobody's talking about it at the same time, and I haven't seen anybody make a YouTube video about it. And so I really need to put my 2 cents into this, and we need to talk about it. So this all starts from a TikTok user who posted a video back in April, and his name is Tristan Galindo. He posted this video talking about how there was this other TikTok creator around 2020, the start of the pandemic, and this creator disappeared without a trace, but had some very strange yet accurate predictions about the years to come right before he disappeared, and seemed to have a lot of info about the elite. I know that this sounds like fiction, this sounds like an ARG, but I swear it's not. Tristan is actually stopped talking about this on his TikTok because he's concerned. He is worried about putting too much information out there and feels like the reason that this person disappeared is going to come back to him if he keeps talking about it. And with that, hundreds of other people swear that they remember this same creator that he's talking about. So it doesn't seem like it's just coming out of nowhere. Hundreds of people have commented remembering this exact same thing, and that means that thousands of people most likely also remember but haven't spoken up. It's all absolutely wild. I want to get to the bottom of it with you today. So that's what we're talking about today. This video is supported by a sponsor. I will roll that, but I'll be right back with you. If you aren't earning extra cash back on things like gas, grocery, dining, like daily essentials, I'm not really sure what you're doing with your life. What if I told you that there was a completely free app that you could download today and start getting real cash back, like ASAP? The app is called Upside, and they are kindly sponsoring this portion of today's video. When you download Upside today, you will instantly have access to over 100,000 different gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants right within the Upside app. So the next time you go to one of those places, you will start earning cash back. There's no confusing rewards, points, or credits. It's actual money that is transferred right into your bank account. In fact, about $1 million is earned every week by Upside users. I've been using Upside just for gasoline so far, and I've been using the 76, which is the one closest to where I live, and it works. It's right in the app, and I've gotten cash back several times. I've also been looking through the app, and I haven't gotten takeout from this place since I've gotten the Upside app a few months ago, but it is my favorite Mexican restaurant in my area, and it's like a small business mom and pop kind of restaurant, and it's my favorite Mexican restaurant. I'm not going to tell you which one it is or show you because it's really close to my address and I don't want to dox myself, but I found that they are in the Upside app for like 6% cash back. So I'm so excited for when I get takeout from there. Probably this Friday. Probably Friday for my movie night. Frequent Upside users earn an average of $340 in cash back per year. The very top Upside users, though, make as much as $300 a month. To find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description to download Upside and use the code HannahTheHorrible to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. Or scan the QR code on the screen right now to claim this offer. Thank you again to Upside for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Now let's get back into this crazy conspiracy. Okay, so I think I was tagged in this over on TikTok, but I first heard about this truly and started looking into it when a subscriber emailed me. So a subscriber that just goes by L, that is their name. Shout out to L, because not only did they tip me off to this, but also sent me a video compilation that they made, as well as other resources and Reddit posts. So this is borderline a collaboration with them because they were so helpful in helping me gather info for this. And as a thank you for them tipping me off to this, I also want to shout out their YouTube channel because they are a small creator here on the platform. Their channel is Mage System. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The main host of the channel is L, he, they, and they seem to make primarily content about mental health. I was looking through some of it. It seems to be be a lot of focus on specifically DID. So if any of that is interesting to you, I highly recommend going to watch some of their videos. They do it in a very educational, entertaining way. I will be sure to link their channel down below as well. That being said, it's important to note that just because Elle collaborated with me a little bit on this and helped me out a lot, Elle does not know that much of what I'm going to say in this video. They didn't help me write the script. They don't have access to my script or anything like that. And I only say that to not drag Elle into this if you don't like anything I say in this video. So Elle had nothing, Elle did not sway my opinions on this. Elle just gave me all this information. Elle did not try to sway me one way or another. All the opinions in this video are my own. If any of the opinions in this video you disagree with, or if I say anything that pisses you off, please take it out on me, leave me mean comments or whatever. Do not go and leave anything but support for Elle, because Elle just found this and went down a rabbit hole and gave it to me. Okay, sorry for that long intro, but disclaimers are important. Okay, so first we're just gonna watch the original video by Tristan Galindo. So this is a 3-minute video. It seems kind of long, but it is actually important to listen to the whole thing. If you don't catch everything, don't worry. I'm going to summarize it for you after we watch the video to make sure that we're all on the same page.
I want to see if anybody else remembers this. When COVID started here in the US, there was this guy that had millions of followers throughout all these platforms, and he deleted all of his other platforms except for TikTok, and he made like a series of videos apologizing to his fans and like pretty much telling them to be prepared from what happens now when COVID started to 2026. I came across his page when I had COVID the very first time, and I was out of commission for like a month and a half because I was so sick, so I had time to watch all his videos. There was like 70, 80 videos, and you can tell they were all made in the same day, so he was trying to hurry up and push out the information, and then he was gone. His last video, he was like sobbing, could barely even speak at that point. And he said that him, his wife, and his 3 kids were going to live off grid and disappear until 2029, when he will be able to come back and reveal who gave him this information and who his resources were. But he would refer to these people as uppers. In like the first 10 videos, he discusses how he got his social media platforms and that he was given fame, and that his cousin was actually the one that was famous, and his cousin took him to an event and he latched on to someone that was in the uppers that's against famous people. So I guess, like, in other words, a famous person that has a committee that's against the bad famous people. They latched on and became friends, and they gave him an assignment. They gave him social media platforms with millions of followers and told him to post for 2 months so he becomes a familiar face, and then to delete all his platforms and just stick with one platform that is popular in that time. And during that time and now, TikTok is the most popular platform. And I'm into conspiracies, and I only remember the ones that scare me. I know that's weird, but I remember watching all his videos, and I was terrified because the things he was saying made sense. And I almost made like a mental checklist. So anytime anything happens, I'm like, fuck, he said that. I kid you not, everything this man has said so far has happened, and I cannot find his videos. And I hope people remember him, because it was like a year straight people made fun of him, and then it just all stopped. And what brought this up today is I just watched a video of The Simpsons talking about the stars falling from the sky. And he made this comment that made no fucking sense to me. And he said, I want you guys to know that the stars are going to fall, but it's not the ones that are in the sky. It's the ones you look up to. In the back of my head, I said, the ones I look up to are the ones in the sky. Absolutely not. And now it makes sense after seeing that little clip. It blows my mind. If anybody remembers it and you can find a video, tag me in it so I can have proof. But also I want to rewatch his videos because holy shit, like, mind blown.
Okay, so Tristan is claiming that at about the beginning of the pandemic, early 2020, he remembers watching a creator on TikTok push out like, you know, anywhere from like 60 to 100 videos pretty much in one day, freaking out and trying to push all this information out there about all this secret stuff that this creator knows, that this person, whoever it is that he was watching, knows, and he has it on good authority because he was in with these uppers. So that's the TLDR, is that there was a creator that was pushing all these conspiracies back at the beginning of 2020, but then suddenly disappeared. Really disappeared. Like, there's absolutely no trace of him anywhere on any platform that anyone can find, and said that he is disappearing until 2029 when he will come back. That's the TLDR. Now, the uppers that he mentioned, we gather that those seem to be elite people, very, very, very wealthy people, but the wealthy people that are good. Like, probably wealthy people that we don't even really think about that much or know about that much, because most of the elite wealthy people that we do know of are assholes. So it seems to be that the uppers are the good elite people that are trying to expose the bad elite people and take them down, basically. We'll get into more of that later as he says what he remembers from these videos. But he explains that this creator was gifted his platforms with millions of followers, and then was somehow, like, it seemed like the uppers, from my understanding, my interpretation is that the uppers were using him as a pawn to get some of this information out to the public, but then something happened, either the uppers or the bad elite people found out and threatened him until he disappeared. The whole stars in the sky thing, he says stars in the sky as in the literal stars, but we and many of us realize that obviously means the stars we look up to. Sorry, I use quotes so much. It's just a hand gesture thing. That the stars we look up to that they're referring to are celebrities, elite, the very, very wealthy. Now, the very bizarre thing is that it seems like hundreds, if not thousands of people know exactly what Tristan's talking about. Tristan, this video blew up. This video is sitting at filming at about 12.5 million views on TikTok, which is, I would consider that viral. I would consider pretty much anything over 1 million views, like at least a viral moment, right? So this got a lot of attention, and hundreds, if not thousands of people commenting saying, I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember saving his videos. I'm totally on track with what you're talking about. So now let's watch the video that Tristan makes describing what this person supposedly looked like what he remembers of the description.
He's wearing a white t-shirt. He's African American. And in the beginning, for the first, I don't know how many videos, he's wearing a hat. But you will notice it's him because of his eyes. I thought his eyes were wicked. They were beautiful. Sorry, I'm sweating. I just left the gym. One side of it is dark green, the other side is brown, and then this one is just plain brown. I thought it was gorgeous. And he's like pacing throughout like a backyard, I think is what it is. And that's all I can really remember. But you notice it's him because when he's speaking, you can see the worry in his eyes. Like, you can feel the way he's feeling if you watch his videos. It is intense. And you can tell that he's rushing, like he's trying to get it out so he can leave. Like, it's intense.
Okay. So that is all we know about his appearance from what Tristan remembers. An African-American male, and had eyes that were two different colors, which refers to heterochromia. So the man seemed to have heterochromia and was African-American and seemed urgent, and he remembers him crying in some of the videos and pacing, possibly outside or in a backyard. So before we talk about who this might be, let's talk about who it's definitely not, because there were several strong leads that people were throwing out quite a bit, and let's just debunk those right now. So, many comments saying that it was somebody named Mo Othman. Mo Othman did kind of make content-ish like this in the conspiracy theory realm, but he has posted on his TikTok some weird TikToks recently, but other people have said that he is active on Twitter. The biggest problem with Mo Othman is that he doesn't have a wife or kids. And remember that this man who he's talking about said that he had to run off and hide with his wife and 3 children. Mo doesn't have a wife or children. So that rules that out. Also, later, Tristan himself says specifically that he remembers it was not Mo Othman, that he likes that creator. He follows him as well. And this creator is like literally, the videos were deleted. Someone else suggested that it is a creator named William Knight. Now, this was kind of a good lead as well because it was an African-American male. He did not have heterochromia, but his eyes are like piercingly beautiful. Like, just, I don't, what is that called? Like when your eyes look like that. Oh my God. It's like so piercing and beautiful. Like, I think the way Stephanie Meyer was trying to describe vampires was how his eyes kind of look, you know, like it looks like he's wearing contacts, but he's not. Maybe he is wearing contacts. Who knows? Anyway, so he's also still very, very active on TikTok, and this creator would not be active on TikTok. And then William Knight also posts a lot of like stuff promoting his app, like weird clickbaity kind of stuff that like come weird, like nonsensical videos. And he's mostly trying to promote an app, which I believe is like a manifesting hocus pocus app. Okay, and lastly, the other name that I saw thrown out quite a bit was Isaac Cappy. Cappy. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right. He was also a very, very big conspiracy theorist, very, very into the QAnon stuff, and he passed away from S Word in 2019, and that was extremely tragic. However, of course, QAnon members believe that that's not how he died, and that was a cover-up, and that he's either not dead or somebody put a hit out on him. However, he seemed to be quite in the depths of depression, and from what I saw, some substance abuse things. He even left like a cryptic note on social media right before, and according to news sources, there was 2 witnesses that were trying to stop him from doing this before he did it. So I personally think, of course, I'm not a conspiracy theorist though, I personally think that the news is telling the truth. But Isaac was not black, Isaac did not have heterochromia, and Isaac also did not have a wife or kids. So it's definitely not him either. There were a few other names floating around. They were all very obviously not the same person, and they weren't floated around quite as much, so I don't think those matters much, but just to rule them out, it's definitely not those 3 men. After Tristan released the video of what he remembers the man to look like, this is what he posted because somebody left a comment saying they remember the name.
So I'm not gonna lie, this actually does sound familiar. This might be the name. This might be the person. But when you look it up anywhere, there's no way to find it. So that fucking sucks. So all of us, let's do our research on this name and see if this is the one.
Okay, so a comment left says Marcus D. King. His name was MK Ultra _ MK. It could be some variation of that, but that's likely around what it was. But I'm pretty sure it's been changed or wiped from the internet because I can't find anything on him now. That's what the comment said. And Tristan is confirming that that name sounds very, very familiar. He cannot say 1000%, but he believes that that might be the person he's thinking of. Now, Marcus D. King, MK Ultra, like the initials go with it, so it goes with the username. MK Ultra also really goes well with this whole thing because MK Ultra itself was a conspiracy theory, except it turned out to be true. Very briefly, MK Ultra, if you don't know, was an illegal human experiment that the CIA inflicted on people without their knowledge. They were essentially drugging subjects to see how drugs would affect somebody in an interrogation, and see if they could use that against our enemies, basically. It sounds very conspiratorial, but it did turn out it's one of the times where a conspiracy theory ended up being very true, very scary. Notably, I've already confirmed this as well, just like everybody on this thread who's been looking this up, nothing comes up when you Google Marcus D. King, MK Ultra _ MK, or any variations of that. Absolutely nothing comes up. So that was all from 2020. Notably, again, in 2022, this amp came out that was a MK Ultra Marcus King amplifier, like a guitar amp came out. And a lot of people speculate that that came out on purpose so that the search results would be flooded with this advertisement and with info on this amplifier, rather than this whole thing going on TikTok. I personally think that's a little far-fetched, just because I think even if it was, like, even if they were trying to cover it up, I think other info about the other thing would still come up. I guess it seems like apples and oranges to me, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like that might just be a coincidence. So, Tristan then started making videos and publishing videos about what specifically he remembers from the videos from MK Ultra or Marcus's videos from what he can remember. So Tristan starts explaining specific conspiracy theories that he was talking about and what was going to happen. And then these things did happen. Now, at first, the video was deleted. It is recoverable. We have it, but he ended up having to make the same video multiple times, which we're going to watch in just a second, because the first one kept getting taken down. So he kept needing to be a little more careful with his wording and everything like that. So he's going to be like, this is all for entertainment, wink, wink, at the beginning of a lot of these videos, when he's just saying that to try to get around the TOS on TikTok and later Instagram, where he posts this. So this is going to be a few minutes, but we are going to just go through all of these videos that he makes about what specifically he remembers from these supposedly Marcus videos. I have so many thoughts, and then after that, we're going to go over theories, so bear with me, but let's watch these videos first. Okay, so for extra clarification, this is going to be the series of videos that he posts, him repeating what was from the first video that got deleted.
This video is for entertainment purposes only. The things I'm going to say has no truth behind it. All right, thank you, TikTok. Okay, so I'm going to go over a couple of different things that was said in the videos. And I'm going to be using the word allegedly a lot. Okay, here we go. Also, I'm currently in my office at work, so I have to talk a little bit quiet. Allegedly, his uppers told him that they had to get Trump out of the White House so they could finish the agenda that Obama started. And then Biden won, and they're like best friends. So there's that. And keep in mind, all of this was said way before any of this happened, okay? He made these videos in the beginning of COVID. So there's that. Keep that in mind. He mentioned allegedly his uppers told him that Beyonce, Ellen, and Oprah are going to fall really hard, and the things that we find out about these people are going to be absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Allegedly his...
Okay, pausing there for just a second. So just for reference, so for the timeline here, so this was the beginning of 2020, allegedly, that Tristan said that these videos were being made. It was July 2020 when the stuff about Ellen came out. So the stuff about her very toxic work environment and how Ellen was basically allegedly a bully and mean and all that, and nothing like the persona that she puts out there. And so that would have been technically a few months after these allegations were made. So a few months in the future. Whatever he's talking about with Beyonce, I don't believe has come out yet. I mean, I'm sure there's some stuff about Beyonce out there. I saw some whisperings, but nothing like major news or anything, I don't think. I think the stuff with Oprah is also well known. The biggest thing that I know of for Oprah was the whole Hawaii thing, like her owning land, a bunch of land in Hawaii, and basically making all the native Hawaiian people, like their situation worse than it already is, like her contributing to all that. That's all that I know about, but nothing, again, no huge scandals the way Ellen was that I remember, but maybe those things haven't come out yet.
Uppers told him that they have been secretly giving evidence and proof about an island that is involved in a huge trafficking of children. And I think we all know which island we're talking about, and that they are going to watch it crumble, which is what happened.
So this is confusing because, again, he said that all this was stuff that was made in 2020. I don't know if he's referring to Epstein's Island, by the way. I think most people know that. Some people in the comments were being like, what island are you talking about? He's talking about Epstein's Island and the way it came out, but that was way before 2020. So I don't really understand how that's a prediction. Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019, August 10th, 2019. So that would have been before all this stuff. So I don't know if he's claiming that the disappeared creator, the Marcus creator guy, was saying that they told him this years before it happened or something, but it's not that amazing to talk about it in 2020 when it happened years prior to that, and he died in 2019. So I'm not really sure I understand that one, but it's mostly giving credibility to the fact that this person, I guess, knows a bunch of insider information, and a bunch of elites knew that this was going to go down before it did, I guess.
And like I said, keep in mind, all this was said before anything happened. Allegedly, his uppers told him that HIV, hepatitis, and cancer all have cures. They only go to the elites. And the only way for us to get the cures to the public is if we actually fight for it, because the way that it's set up right now, Big Farm has timelines on how they're going to do this, and it's going to take forever. Like, we're never going to get the cures. And how it's going to be is they're going to like release this shot that allows you to stay dormant for 6 months, and then a year, and then 5 years, and 10 years, and then pretty much they'll just keep on doing that until we're like, hey, how are we getting one shot every 20 years? There's a cure, you know? But he was telling his fans, like, yo, stand up and fight for it, because you guys, allegedly his upper says that that's all that really needs to happen. Anyway, there's that.
Okay, so I didn't want to pause it again 2 seconds later, but I just want to clarify that, yeah, he was saying that the whole Epstein's Island thing, he was talking about it in his videos, but he heard about it years before it happened. So I think he was saying that that was allegedly a prediction. Now, the thing I really want to touch on this too, that what he just talked about with the how they have cure for HIV, hepatitis, and cancer, and the elites have it, but they're not giving it to us. First of all, that is some major QAnon stuff. That is not some some miraculous revelation that somebody made. That is stuff that's been going on and been like secretly talked about in QAnon and other conspiracy theory circles for a long time. That is not some magical revelation that somebody just realized and now we're like, oh shit, they do. Like, that has been a conspiracy theory. That is nothing new. Secondly, I have a really hard time believing that Kate Middleton is suffering from cancer and disappeared for those months, getting treatment for it and everything. And she still, as far as I know, is getting treatment, still has cancer. I have a hard time. She's probably one of the most elite people in the world. She's like literal royalty. Why wouldn't they give it to her? Then why wouldn't they give her the cure? That doesn't make any sense. Unless they're arguing that they like cured her, but she has to stay silent and pretend like she's not cured, because then people will know that they have the cure, which honestly, I wouldn't put it past people that believe in QAnon to actually believe that. People then also say that there's, the big thing, the best example of this, Magic Johnson with having HIV and how he has lived for so long and even thrived and stayed pretty healthy, even living with HIV. And to that I say, now mind you, I am not a doctor, but to that I say, yeah, people that are elite, it's not necessarily that they have these magic cures that they're not sharing with the entire world, but people that are elite have the money and the resources to get top-notch care. It's not necessarily something that other people couldn't get. It's that people can't, normal us peasants down here can't get it because we don't have the money. So yeah, Magic Johnson, he has the money to hire personal chefs to make him the best anti-inflammatory and best, most nutritious food on the daily that he eats 24/7. He has trainers to help him exercise. He has all of these doctors, an entire health team that he's going to have the money and the resources to get the best care possible. And also, again, not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that different people react to diseases in a different way. So it's possible that he was just lucky. I'm not saying I know that for a fact, but I'm just saying that there are other possibilities here, and it doesn't mean that they have a secret cure to all these things that they're keeping from us. I feel like, in my personal opinion, if they had the cure to this stuff, Big Pharma would want us to buy it. But the most important part is just to say that that's just not new. That's a QAnon conspiracy theory.
Allegedly, his uppers also told him that there's going to be a blackout for 3 days up to a week. And pretty much it's to shut us down, almost like a restart. So they are able to hide everything that's out in the open now. So, yeah.
With the blackout thing, I also find that interesting because that could easily, like, anytime that's predicted correctly, could be explained by confirmation bias. For example, all the flights getting canceled just a few weeks back when all of Windows went off. Like, I feel like a lot of people would say, like, well, he said there was going to be a blackout to reset, and that's probably what that was. But he's talking about a blackout as in all the power goes out, all the computers aren't working. Everybody else's computers were working just fine. It was just those in those big corporate offices. So again, it's like, why isn't it specific? Why is it so specific yet not specific at all in a way that could make sense in other scenarios? You know what I mean? I have that exact same feeling with the Ellen, Oprah, and Beyonce thing. Like, anybody could just throw out huge Hollywood names, like, you know, some A-list celebrities, which all three of those are. Anybody could throw out names like that and be like, they're going to be taken down. And it's like, okay, like, that's not a huge risky prediction to make. You could throw that out about any celebrity, and in the next few years, any really big celebrity like that, and in the next few years, more than likely, they'll have a scandal. And in my opinion, even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while, so the Ellen thing matched up perfectly. But the Oprah thing seems like confirmation bias. That seems like us just finding tiny controversies. They're not saying that was a tiny controversy. That's egregious. Like, that, I totally am on board with preserving Hawaii and respecting native land and everything. I'm not saying that that's not a big deal, but I'm just saying that literally anything that happened with Oprah and Oprah controversies could be associated with that. Same for Beyonce. It's like the P. Diddy. I saw people trying to say that the P. Diddy stuff that came out could be what he was talking about with Beyonce. But then why didn't he say P. Diddy? He said Beyonce. You know what I mean? Like, people are connecting dots because their brain already wants to come to a certain conclusion. Let's keep going.
Part 1, and that's all I'm going to release in this video. And we'll see how this video does and see if it gets taken down. And if not, then I'll do part 2.
So as we can see, part 2 was also taken down. I feel like a lot of the times they're getting taken down because it's TikTok seeing it as, I don't think it's necessarily like a weird reason, like TikTok's trying to cover it up or that there's people controlling it behind the scenes. I honestly think that it's because TikTok probably sees this as spreading misinformation and fear mongering, even though I don't think that's Tristan's intention. I think Tristan is genuinely trying to like put out this story, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. But I think that as far as terms of service, I think I could understand why it would go against terms of service.
Hey babes, sorry it took so long for part 2, but I did not want to waste your guys' time if the other one was going to be taken down. So I wanted to wait about a week and see if it worked the way I like worded everything. And it did. So let me start off by saying, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. Everything I'm about to say has no truth behind it. All right, now thank you, TikTok. Allegedly, his uppers told him that the stars were going to fall, but not the ones from the sky, the ones we look up to. And I was confused about this, but now we all know that he meant the famous people that we actually look up to. They're like above us. They're going to start falling. And that's happening. He was also told,
I want to address that as well. Like, I know we kind of touched on that, but like, again, that's very much like cold reading and psychic readings that I think of, that people that I'm not arguing whether psychics are real or not, but specifically scammer people that claim to be psychics, and they very well know they are not. They are trained in this thing called cold reading, where they can very, very vaguely lead you through information to get information out of you to make it seem like they are predicting your future or talking to your loved ones or knowing your past. So for an example, they could say like, I'm feeling that you had a really, really strong male figure in your life that you have some turmoil with. That's not a huge risky thing to say to somebody. Most people have, I'm sorry, my rats are being a menace right now. They are making so much noise. It's evening time. This is the time that they're out. So just ignore crinkling if you hear it. They playing. So it's kind of like the psychic thing where they can say like, that's not a huge jump. Like, that's not the mass majority of people that come and they have a crystal ball and they're inhaling incense and you say like, I see a male figure in your life that is causing turmoil or that you've had turmoil with. Like, most people have daddy issues or have some male or partner in their life that is going to cause, like, it's not, you know what I mean? That's cold reading. That's what cold reading is. Or you could say like, I'm really sensing the color pink in your life. Like, that's a really important color in your life. And whether it is or not, the person might, again, in that kind of state of mind, might like be like, oh my God, that's my favorite color. Or, oh my God, that's the shirt I'm wearing. Or that's the shirt I wore yesterday. Obviously, they wouldn't say that about the shirt you're wearing today. But if you were wearing a pink shirt, then they might have said that specifically knowing that you like the color pink and you'll like resonate with that. But that's what, you know what I mean? That's what cold reading, and that's what cold reading is. And that's what this is giving to me, is that like the stars you look up to are going to fall. Okay, celebrities, which are the stars that he's talking about, the stars we look up to, the elite people that have more money than us, they're doing shit. They're like pulling shenanigans all the time. Celebrities are in the news doing some bullshit and being a menace to society every day in the news. Every day someone is canceled. Like, look at Mr. Beast. Like, we could say like, oh my God, he predicted Mr. Beast being canceled right now, you know? I mean, he, in my opinion, would be considered one of the biggest, like, he has more followers than most people on any platform ever. Well, I guess he still does, but you know, like, but you get what I'm saying. Like, he could say that, and then like, yeah, you could find celebrities that are like pulling their antics like they do every day of the week, and then they could be like, oh, he predicted right. Okay.
By his uppers that allegedly there was quite a few bunkers being built, and he was invited into one of them with one of his uppers to protect him until he was able to come back. This one made me nervous. So allegedly there was supposed to be a war in 2019, but instead something else happened. And
there's wars going on around the world all the time.
And it is still in the works, and it's going to happen before 2026. The thing that scares me is what's going on right now. We're about to be in the middle of some shit. So this is going to come true. And that makes me scared. Anyway, that's one thing that he said. That there was supposed to be a war in 2019, didn't happen, but it is rescheduled to happen before 2026.
They scheduled the war.
His uppers told him that there is a lot of government officials in the S trafficking ring. This first one blew my mind. He said allegedly his uppers told him that the population in America is planned to grow rapidly, but not because Americans. Listen to this. I said listen, but I actually meant read. Pause to read. And these are things you can look up yourself, but it blows my mind because like another thing too is like Homeland Security, what they have recorded since you know who has been in the White House, there has been 2.4 million migrants that have came here without any issue, like they chilling. But those are ones that were able to be documented, and there are millions undocumented. Like, it's just, it makes sense. Like, what they meant by our population would grow, but it's all a part of a huge agenda. Anyway, that one blew my mind. Anyway, allegedly.
Why did that blow your mind? Like, honest question. I don't really understand why that blows your mind. I feel like, again, that's not, like, that sounds like some QAnon fear-mongering stuff to me.
His uppers told him that we would all be fully aware of aliens, except for it was given to us in a way and during a time where they knew we wouldn't stress about it. And I think that's crazy, because when we were actually all told about it, we were done. We don't care. We just went through COVID. We're still going through COVID. Like, we have too much to worry about with barely making it to worry about an alien being on Earth. But we probably should have been more into that. Anyway, that was one thing. This one happened.
What? I don't understand. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? If just because COVID happened, if there was definitive proof of actual alien beings from other planets, like actual definitive hard evidence, videos and proof, I'm pretty sure we would be interested. What do you mean we wouldn't care? It would be all over the news. I'm so confused.
And okay, so allegedly his uppers told him that the world would be on fire, right? And when the creator sent it back to me, I was like, oh yeah, I remember him talking about that, but what do you think it means? When I tell you, the creator does not want to be known, and that's okay. When they told me what they thought it meant, my mind, I'm gonna show you guys. When they told me, as in the creator that gave me the information and kind of changed my outlook on what we were talking about, it blew my mind, because I was thinking that it was like we were causing these fiery situations because we don't get along, we don't do this, we don't do that, and pretty much fire between each other, not real fire. No, we're talking about real fire here. It is rare to have wildfires that are written in history because how bad they were year after year. Like, and I didn't think about that. And that is literally what's been happening since 2020. So when they told me, as in the creator, that this is what they think it's about, I was like, damn. Yeah. Hey babes, this will be the last video.
Any environmental activist or professional could tell you that wildfires are going to increase as global warming gets worse and worse. I don't think this is a prediction of any sort, or I don't think this is wild by any stretch of the imagination. I think that if you asked anybody in 2015, any environmental activist or somebody who studies wildlife and, you know, the environment and global warming, they'd be like, yeah, wildfires are going to be crazy in like 10 years. I don't think that you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that was a prediction. I don't think that this is much of a stretch or much of like some miraculous thing that somebody predicted.
About what was said from his uppers. These are things that people remember. Let me say this is for entertainment purposes only. Everything I'm going to say has no truth behind it. All of it is allegedly said by somebody else. All right, let's get started. Allegedly, his uppers told him that teleportation is actually a thing, and it's been a thing for years. And it would actually be open to the public soon enough. It's just that it has to be done a certain way. Now, he did talk a lot about diseases. I named the 3, but allegedly his uppers told him that dementia actually has a cure and that diabetes was never a life sentence. Both of those are things that we can get rid of immediately, and there's actually a vaccine to get rid of those, allegedly. Now, I do remember this, though, being said, but anyway, his uppers told him that there's a vaccine that can reverse addiction to drugs, but it will never be used, but it is out there. Allegedly, his uppers told him that the tunnels that we all hear about are real life, and there's actually tunnels that can lead you state to state. You just have to know where they are. Now, the reason why I said this will be the last video is because I had a lot of people reach out to me, and going through the messages and having to make sure that there was more than 5 people that remember one thing was hard enough. But then I started getting messages from people that are scared for me to mention certain things and asked me to quit talking about it. And then I got a message that I'm not going to tell you who it's from, but it is from a very big influencer that they think that I should stop making these videos because they feel like I'm in harm's way, and that scared the shit out of me. So yeah, and so this will be the last video, but I love you guys. Also, if anything ever happens to me, just know that I did not do it to myself, and no one around me would have done it to me, okay? I was told to say that, and I feel like that's scary as fuck that I have to do that.
Okay, first, really quick, just addressing the teleportation thing. That's incredibly random. I feel like that is also just one of those things that you can say, and then no matter what, no matter how much time goes on, they could just be like, well, it has to be at a certain time. Like they said, it has to be done in a certain way and can only be at a certain time. So like, even if it's 2050, they're going to be like, well, it's just not the time yet. Like there's plausible deniability in that. And due to like literal physics, it's not possible. As far as we know now, outside of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and Harry Potter, the laws of physics would not allow biology, like actual items, to disappear and materialize somewhere else. That's magical thinking. That's literally not possible. Then there was a lot more of the same health stuff, that there's like vaccines to cure dementia and all this stuff, and they're just not giving it to the world for whatever reason. And then of course he does talk about why he's not making videos about this anymore. He did pin the original video because it went viral, but other than that, he is not talking about this. Now go to Reddit and find there's a few posts about him and about this whole situation to see if anybody has more information. A lot of people have gone to the Wayback Machine and there's absolutely nothing there. Like I said, whoever this was is gone. They are not on the internet. Nobody can find them. Nobody has found them in their phone as a saved video or anything like that. Okay, let's talk about all the theories and what we think is really going on here. Now, first of all, I want to say a few things about the situation itself. So Tristan, I know that the last couple videos he said that was people sending Tristan things that they remember from the account and from what they said, but the vast majority of it, I find it really interesting how much he remembers. I find it so interesting that Tristan has so many specific details about these videos, but a lot of the details are vague at the same time. And these videos are random videos he watched 4 years ago. Can you remember, like, seriously, think hard. Do you remember the details of videos you watched 4 years ago? For context, I'm a YouTuber, so I research, and when I make a video, I'm watching the clips for the video. I see them like upwards of 7 times each. I could not describe as much detail to you about a video I made 4 years ago, even though I watched the video multiple times, edited the video, got in the nooks and crannies of every detail of the story. From 2020, I could not tell you the details of my video from 4 years ago. The average person, I would argue, would not be able to remember all these details. So he remembers very vague things about the appearance, barely remembers the username, can barely remember that he was like walking outside, but then at the same time remembers such specific things. It's down to like the fact that him saying like the first 10 videos he was talking about this, and then the last videos he was talking about this, and then the very last one he's crying. And I'm not really saying this or that about that in particular. I'm just making an observation. I just find it very interesting that he remembers so much from these videos from 4 years ago when he watched allegedly upwards of 80 videos in one day about all this stuff. Like, it's possible, but it just seems really bizarre to me that he would remember that much. It seems way more likely that he would remember, like, there was a guy who was talking about a lot of conspiracy theories, a couple things I remember, and then he disappeared. So that's my opinion. That's just what I want to put out there. So let's talk about the theories. Let's do it. I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second. And let's just say for a moment that this is 1000% true. There really was a user named MKUltra_MK. His name was Marcus D. King. And he made all these videos, all this stuff in the videos that Tristan recalls was actually in the videos. He disappeared, saying he had to go into hiding with his wife and kids, but he'd be able to come back in 2029. Is MK Ultra a clue? Is the fact that his username was MK Ultra, is that some sort of clue? Is it possible that a lot of us did see this, and the reason we can't find it or remember enough of the details to find it is because we were MK Ultra'd? Did they erase our memories basically, or brainwashed into thinking that this never happened? It also, he was wiped from the internet, which if this was true, then that would make sense that whoever was trying to hide this would wipe literally every ounce of it from the internet. If they did wipe it from our minds, they didn't do a very good job. No, now did they? Because a lot of us still remember a lot of details. I guess we'll find out in 2029. So that is theory 1, that this is 1000% true and that this guy is living in the mountains somewhere waiting to reappear in 2029. The second theory is, I'm going to try to be very, very nice here. I do not want to start any beef. I think Tristan seems like a very, very nice man. He seems very charming, very compelling, speaks very well, and seems very relatable. Seems like somebody that you could sit down and have a coffee with and have a ton of fun chatting with and hanging out with. He also says that he is quote unquote not political. And that was in a video. I don't think I showed you that in this video, but he does say at one point that he's not political. So basically he's saying, I don't have skin in this game. I'm not a QAnoner, but I'm not like a progressive either. I don't really think either way. All I'm doing is relaying this information to you guys, right? So the second theory is on the opposite spectrum of the first theory. Tristan is completely full of shit and made up this entire thing. Perhaps, if I were to venture a guess, if he was full of shit and made this up, he was conducting some sort of social experiment that worked very, very well. basically to see if he could create false memories in people by making a video about a completely made up story go viral. That all the people that claim to remember this were simply led, and everybody is having a memory of maybe a creator they saw back in the day, and then the power of suggestion is making them remember this much better, even though it is a collective false memory. Some stuff to support this theory would be the fact that none of the predictions mentioned were proof of any predictions, if that makes sense. Like him just recalling what some dude said in 2020 and then some of that stuff happening, he could have written that in 2024 about somebody predicting the future in 2020. Does that make sense? Like no actual predictions were made. The predictions that were claimed to come true, the specific one, like at the Epstein's Island thing, that was just hearsay. Him saying that he was told that years before it happened, but we have no proof that anybody made any sort of prediction. There is no proof that these predictions were actual predictions. I did reach out to Tristan. I did DM him on TikTok, and I have not heard back. I do not fault him for that. I myself accidentally looked into my DMs on TikTok, and boy, oh boy, I didn't even know that all those existed. I had like 50 some messages from people that I have never looked at. It's a total mess. So I do not fault Tristan one bit if he has not seen my DM. He probably gets reached out to quite a bit about this as well. But regardless, like it's quite possible that he never saw it. And even if he saw it, he didn't have time to read it. I did only send it to him, I think, yesterday afternoon. So like it's fair. It's not like I gave him weeks to respond. So that is nothing, no fault against Tristan for that. However, I wish he had responded so that we could have chatted about this. Now, the last piece of evidence that really supports this particular theory is the fact that there is no trace of this person. To think that out of the thousands of people who claim to remember him, let alone the 12.5 million views Tristan has on this TikTok, on the original TikTok, you would think one of those people remembered this person, went into their phone and found a video of them that they saved from a long time ago, or that somebody had a clip saved somewhere. You know what I mean? Somebody screen recorded something. Especially predictions where he claims that this creator had millions of followers on these platforms. Someone somewhere would remember something. It's just the way the internet works when there's stuff like this. Something comes up in Google and nothing has come up. It is literally gone, which for Tristan, that adds credibility to his story, right? Well, that's because he really was white from the internet. The conspiracies are true. But to me, that just means that you made a story around that and that it's convenient that there's nothing there because it possibly never happened in the first place. Now, the third theory is that this is true. This really was a person, but this Marcus King, all the stuff he was spewing was not actually true. He thought it was true, but he was suffering from some sort of mental illness and that all of this was delusion. If this Marcus dude was suffering from a mental illness, he made all of these videos and then he was paranoid, having these delusions, thought people were after him, thought the government was after him. And so he very, very quickly deleted everything, every trace of him off the internet. And that is why we can't find any information, which would mean that Tristan is telling the truth. He does remember this person and many, many, many others remember this person. It's just that the creator that disappeared was making up the story and we had no way of knowing that. However, I think if that were the case, we still would be able to find some sort of trace of him. I still feel like there would have been some article written about him or something. Now, I do have one more theory that's kind of a combination of a couple of them, and that is that this is a collective delusion / Mandela effect in action here. And it's a Mandela effect that Tristan created, but not on purpose. Perhaps Tristan did remember a creator like this with heterochromia in the eyes, as well as an African-American male who was making these conspiracy theory videos, but all those specifics that he laid out were definitely just stuff that he was kind of going with as more people messaged him about details they remembered. So Tristan remembered something similar happening, but got a lot of the details, wrong, saying a lot of the details, even though those didn't actually happen. And then it's snowballed because thousands of people claim to remember this. So they're working off of each other, and we're all in this collective false memory, and it's created this Mandela effect where we're all remembering something particular happening which never actually happened. Unfortunately, I don't have a definitive answer for you. My gut instinct, part of me really does believe that Tristan is telling the truth, that he did remember some weird thing and he tried to solicit the internet to help him find the person. I do feel like he comes off very genuine in a lot of his videos. I do think that a lot of the specific details he remembers are in line with somebody who is trying to grasp at a memory. And I don't mean this on, and I'm really sorry, Tristan, if you are watching this, absolutely, like, no shade to you, absolutely. Like, if this was a social experiment, I actually think that's kind of brilliant and really interesting, and I don't think in the long run you hurt anybody doing this. My gut, like my super gut instincts is telling me that this is completely made up and that this was somebody creating a viral moment to see if it would work, and it did, and it was very, very creative, and then it kept going, and then when it was going too far, finally he was like, okay, I gotta come up with a reason why this is not, why I gotta stop this, because I gotta move on to other content type things. Again, that is not an accusation. That is just my personal, very personal opinion based on what I know of the case, okay? I'm not accusing Tristan of anything. I could be completely wrong, and I will gladly put my foot directly into my mouth if I am, and if somebody finds this person and comes forward, I will happily make a correction to this video. But I do think it's either that, or it is like him vaguely remembers something and then kind of rolling with it, because I just think there would have been some sort of trace somewhere on the internet. Somebody would have a video or a still of this creator on their phone if really this many people are saying they remembered it. So that was a doozy, wasn't it? That was fun. That one, wow. The rabbit holes we go down on this channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I would really love some insight. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's better proof that Tristan is completely telling the truth or what have you. You know, maybe I've just become so jaded on TikTok from doing all my debunking videos that maybe I've just become so jaded and I just think everyone's lying now. Like, that is possible. And maybe I am unfairly taking it out on Tristan just because I'm so anti-conspiracy theory. That's totally possible. But like I said, I just think it's just with all the, like, this being so closely aligned with what QAnon has been claiming for years, something is not sitting right with me about this whole thing. That's what my main conclusion is that something is not right. Something is missing here. All right, guys, that is going to be it for today. Please like the video to help the channel. And if you're interested in becoming a Patreon, we have a lot of other perks and extras over there. I'll have that link down below. Thank you again to Elle for tipping me off to this story. And of course, thank you to our newest top tier patrons, which this week are Fabulously Freaky Feet and Zombified Snake, our newest patrons. Thank you to the rest of the patrons on the screen, and I will see you all in the next video. Okay, bye.